Hello, welcome to another deep sea dive
Ooh.
of owlbear soup as we dig into the underwater adventure.
I was trying to think of them all today, like a deep dive. We're gonna backstroke into. No, that doesn't make sense.
No,
Freestyle.
no,
That's good. Freestyle.
freestyle. Yeah, I mean we are doing this freestyle.
True.
Mm. Uh, yeah. Welcome to Sunday, everyone. It is 11 a.m. here in Pacific Standard Time.
Mhm.
I'm just waking up. How are you doing this morning, Rich?
Not bad. I'm in a similar boat, but I'm really excited for today. This has been a fun adventure to write so far, and I really
Yeah.
am ready to get into it. I'm ready.
All right. But first, I think you had a couple news items. Your
I
news
did.
items also covered my news items, so go
Oh,
for
really?
it.
Well, I was looking up
Yeah.
things that we had talked about last time, I believe. One of them that came up is about the Dragonlance lawsuit that you were taking a look at, which I
Hmm.
think ends in good news. That's kind of the I'm no expert, of course, but that's what I keep hearing. It was dismissed without
Yeah.
prejudice, which means it's just gone. Um, and hopefully that means that they are working something out. I believe that Margaret Wise posted that they something very exciting is coming out of this. I don't know if that means the Dragonlance books are coming out, like the novels, or whether there will be like a fifth ed system and world. Who
Hmm.
knows? But it could be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it could be interesting. What we know is we know that the first book of a trilogy for Dragonlance has already been written, and it's sitting on the shelf. And Margaret Weissman's happy about whatever has happened. So we'll keep watching. It'll be good.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine a Kickstarter coming out soon with the Dragonlance IP and the open gaming license? I would, in a second, back that.
Oh, you think that's the route it's going to go? I'm kind of
I don't
wondering
know.
if it's going to go if it was just simply like, "Oh, hey, fine, we'll go ahead and publish your books," right? Which is also good news because then people get to
Could
see
be.
this trilogy from Dragonlance that yeah, we haven't gotten a chance to see yet.
That could be. I really don't know. I expect to see more Dragonlance coming up, though, somehow. I'm just not sure if
Yes.
WotC's going to hold on to the whole warehouse or let them have it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I
That
don't
should
know.
be exciting.
I know was it 4th edition Dragonlance wasn't an official source, and so they had other ways of producing it. Same thing with
Mhm.
3.5, if I remember correctly, was
Yeah,
that's when Margaret Rice Productions kind of, you know, shot off and made their own
right.
variation. So I think this is good news for gamers. I'm into it.
I think so. And honestly, I would love to see this come out under, like, take it back and release it under the OGL just to see more, like, third party stuff come out. I want it.
Hmm.
I want it to be super successful. I want them to focus on it. I want them to have a great Dragonlance run for however long they want it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, what else you got?
So that's news part one. I just got two other things. I'm really excited because Pathfinder announced that they are putting together a new Pathfinder playtest with two brand new
Hmm.
classes. Well, brand news, interesting. That they're going to put out for Pathfinder 2. And at this point, they've converted a whole lot of their classes from Pathfinder 1 into 2, but they made so many, just so many that some of them have been left out, and they haven't told the community which ones are going to be released yet. So there's lots of speculation. I keep singing Gunslinger as one of the big ones.
Hmm.
I want them to do the Summoner again. The Summoner is one of my favorites.
Was this
Um,
similar to one with the Eidolon?
yeah, so you have your permanent Eidolon summon, and then you also get
Hmm.
to summon a whole bunch of other things. It was tons of fun. A nightmare for
That's
DMs. A
awesome.
nightmare. um,
Yeah,
but
and I know
yeah,
they're doing a lot of work to kind of streamline the second edition of Pathfinder. I wonder and I haven't played it at all. I'm hopefully going to be playing a game soon. Um, but the I know they were trying to streamline it a little bit as far as combat
mhm,
goes, so it wasn't so bogged down. Is the rapid pace in which they put out all these classes and splat books going to once again fall? They're going to fall into the same trap that they did before, where the power creep is going to be too quick, and there's going to be that issue of, at least an organized play where the adventures are too hard for suboptimal characters, and
uh-huh,
there's going to
uh-huh.
be a list of items you have to buy. Are they quickly rushing to that, or are they balancing it out?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I'm hopeful that they're doing the second. I mean, they had to do a thing that Wizards has done at this point with the Ranger, right? The re-release. So they had their core book, and then they added their Unchained book, which was taking the Barbarian and the Rogue at the very least, and powering them back up to where everything was.
Yep.
Because they were
Yeah.
still 3.5 classes for the most part, so they
Right.
really needed that bump. But now they can come at it from this holistic, like looking at the whole project all at once. So
Right.
I'm very hopeful.
All right. All right.
But
All right.
also, I just want my summoner back. I want to make my Squirrel Mancer again.
Oh
All I
no,
ever
was that
want.
where the Squirrel Mancer come from?
Oh, my Eidolon was a giant squirrel. It was great.
Oh no.
Beautiful. Um,
Yeah, so good.
and
Yeah.
Last up, I just have a Kickstarter I want to mention. It's out right now, and it's a very useful one. So when I'm running games, I have no problem finding monsters that I want. But if
Mhm.
I'm looking for a humanoid style villain, I have a lot more trouble, right? There's not a lot of
Mhm.
super cool wizards. There's like the Archmage, right? But
Right.
not a ton of variety unless you really dig into all of the campaign books, which I think is where all of those humanoid villains come from. And
Yeah.
a group, Grim Press, has been writing a lot of these for the DMs Guild, and they are now releasing a Kickstarter called Allies and Antagonists, the big book of NPCs. And I'm super excited about this. This is going to be a let's see, that is a $15 digital PDF for 100 non-player characters, with stat blocks, with lore, with art, with everything else. It looks pretty fantastic, I've got to say.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out because yeah, I often struggle with that as well whenever I'm writing adventures or anything for players. It's like, oh man, I wanna write a really good villain, but
hmm
my strength definitely lies in interesting combats, not so much creative villainy.
Yeah. Especially just the way the system is set up. Like if you make a 10th level NPC, they're not a challenge level 10 monster, so there's a
Right.
lot of stuff in there. It makes it pretty difficult to do, I think. So I love
Yeah.
having more resources for that. This one is an instant back for me, just because I need NPCs. I run pretty political games. I always have humanoids as villains.
Mhm.
This would be very
Mhm.
helpful for me.
Nice. All right. Well, that was some fantastic news. I think it is probably time for us to go ahead and get into our topic of the day.
Perfect. Jumping back
All
into
right.
Out of Their Depth.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to start
Uh,
back. So last week we started writing it Out of Their Depth. It's an adventure for levels 7 to 9. The hook is a group looking for an item that is important at a shipwreck. And so what we've decided is the church lost an artifact in a shipwreck, and it's an ancient shipwreck.
mhm.
Uh, they take the players to the innermost library past an anti-magic field where this quest is the negotiator is waiting for them. And it's a slumped over priest looking at a table filled of books and maps and stuff, and he's a little bit cranky. But what we don't know as players is that he is a priest of Bane posing as a priest of Ogma.
Mhm.
In lost over 100 years, the church needs the Urn of MacGuffin for a ritual. They're going to pay an obscene amount, but they're smart and are going to start low. So
Mhm.
the artifact is in a waterproof box, which with markings on it. Maybe we'll have a cool handout for that. The Priest of Bane is willing to pay up to 10,000 gold each player and pay for scribing for underwater breathing into the wizard's spell books or supply scrolls, but the bidding starts at 500 gold. So then they embark. They've been booked passage on a ship. This is where a lot of the flavor I think really kind of comes into play, and I'm super
Mhm.
excited about this whole thing. It's a small boat with a captain, um, and the
Arr.
site is about 2 days out. Right? Yeah, so
Mhm.
good. And then we're gonna have some skill challenge things like getting through rough water, getting caught in sandbar, navigating fog. Meanwhile, the old grizzled captain tells stories while sailing the sea. A small story. After the skill, he tells a story of navigating into the fog or something like that, right? And
Mhm.
each of these stories has a little bit of information in them that's going to help them whenever they get into the underwater portion. Like, we're going to find a little nugget here to like, oh, remember the captain's story when you talked about this? maybe we'll be able to wrap some of that in.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So the ship drops anchor, and Skep says, "Good luck." He offers a weighted belt and swim fins. This helps folks without a swim speed get around a little bit. Still, folks with swim speed are going to have a lot of not going to have a lot of problem. And then as we're going down, we're going to talk about pressure and do some pressure tests. They're going to fight some Sahuagin. And then when they get to the bottom, they have a waterproof map that gives them a general idea of the wreck's location. The players edge on the continental shelf, and they see a ship being circled by hundreds of sharks, and the ship rests in a graveyard of bones. So then they have to distract the sharks or sneak around or somehow get into the ship without getting into the sharks. And there are 112 sharks in case the players decide they want to fight. But and I was thinking about this, and they're not trying to kill the characters, and we've mentioned that before, right? So they're trying to force them to run, and there's going to be some rules for this, like the sharks won't go more than 30 feet away from the ship unless attacked.
Right,
something like
they're
that, right?
somehow stuck there. We don't know why exactly.
Yeah,
they're here.
Yeah. But like if you try to long range kill them, then of course they're going to come after you. But then after they attack, they're going to go back. Maybe there's some targeting penalties because they are swimming in a school, which would be appropriate because that's how small fish evade prey, is they swim in schools. So you can't pick out a single one to attack. So you're just kind of going into general direction. So it ruins a lot of precision. Mm-hmm. So maybe they have there's disadvantage to ranged attacks against schools of fish or schools of shark. Something like that. So there we go. We make it into the ship, and then they're going to deal with a variation of the Molsicola from Salt Marsh. It's only CR7. But we're gonna bump that up. We thought of some cool ideas that like the monster tosses bubbles that do falling damage to folks. And then after this little encounter, they realize the ship doesn't look like an Ogma ship. It has Iron Maidens and the likes, and something is controlling the sharks and keeping them in this general area. And that is where we left off. So now we've entered the ship, and now we have to find this box with this urn in it.
Right. So I had a terrible, monstrous, awful idea. So we've been talking about the end of this adventure and the box, whether they're going to open it or not. Yep. And if the box is just locked, easy enough. They can decide if they're going to pick the lock or not.
Yeah.
I had a terrible idea. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Do we just want them to open the box, or do we want them to have that choice?
I want them to have a choice, and actually, well, speaking about that too, I have an idea about choices after we figure out this box choice.
Okay.
I want them to have the choice to open a box.
Okay. Because I was thinking in the back of my head that it's got a riddle on it, and once they can kind of like, maybe it's written in abyssal, or it's written in a strange language, but once they figure it out, it's a riddle. And if they say the answer, if the players say the answer to the riddle out loud, ding, box opens, and they're like, whoa, I didn't mean, and then like boom, encounter time.
Yeah. What if the riddle is just to read the riddle aloud?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, right. I don't know. I'm not good at riddles, right? So if there was a table full of me, then we would never get it.
That's true. Right, but maybe part of the riddle is not that it's a difficult riddle, but that it's written in a strange language. So we need to pull out our comprehend languages. We need our warlock to read it, something like that. And maybe it's less a riddle, but a word that they wouldn't say very often. So they figure it out pretty quickly. But if any of them say it out loud, the box opens.
Yeah, maybe it's like a simple, like, 1 equals a type of puzzle, right? And then it just spells the opening word, which is like, Tootsie or whatever, right? I like that idea where they're working at it in some way. They have to actually work at it to open it. Um,
Because there's the
so they're
choice,
making
right?
that active choice.
Yeah.
hmm Yeah,
It's not
I
just
guess in
like
my
I
head,
make the skill check. Yeah,
uh
go ahead.
I guess yeah, in my head I was thinking like a DC 10 thieves tools.
Something that was easy, and they have to decide to roll the
Yeah.
die. Like there's a moment when they do it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love the idea that they're tempted and they start
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm gonna mess around with it. I'm gonna see if I can figure this out. And oh, I got it. I got it. It's I don't know.
Yeah. I
And then
like
if they
it.
say it out
And
loud,
the
boom.
box opens.
And it's not something they can say out loud underwater if it's a riddle, right?
Right.
Unless they're speaking Aquan. um,
Or maybe the box is in a chamber that's a bubble.
oh, that could be. It depends on. I like
Yeah.
that. Um, right.
The box is located in a damp chamber so that they know it's still uh safe for underwater. Sitting at the bottom of a small pool
I like this. Okay,
in
because here,
a
like, hmm.
bubble room.
So, what if it is the object itself that is both creating this bubble and attracting monsters? What if it is uh, I can't even think about this off the top of my head, but um, like an anti-life shell that also attracts undead at the same time, or something like that. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it gives you protection, but it also attracts the monsters. It's a
Yeah.
trap.
So
It's like a trap
like
artifact somehow.
due to the strange properties of the artifact, when let's see, when enclosed in the box, um, it creates a protective shell of air around it, but the object calls to the strongest ocean predators in the area.
Right, and maybe it makes them stay near it. It's like I keep thinking about the trap spell in The Witcher 3. If you played it like you whenever you fight ghosts are super hard to fight. They'll just fly around and you won't be able to hit them.
hmm
But if you cast this spell whenever they move through and they're tempted to attack you, um,
hmm
they kind of slow down and suddenly can take physical damage. So I like the idea that
Yeah.
this is it calls the predators and makes it possible to actually hurt them, right? Summoning sharks is great. I
hmm
mean, shark's not way over there attacking you at any moment. You bring the sharks to you. um,
Right. Okay, so and I wanted to talk about options. I'm going to make a little subsection for this. So options, there is option 1, the players open the box.
okay.
Players open the box and Y happens. Do do do. Option 2. B option 2, the players don't open the box and X happens.
hmm
But in a way, here you go, mathy person. But
Okay.
X kinda equals Y,
I mean, that's the
right?
best way to do these. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and here's the other thing, right? Is we can backtrack a little bit, and we can go when the players meet the Priest of Bane. Option 1 is they succeed a high DC insight check.
Mhm.
Insight check and confront the priest, right? So then we need to have a minor contingency there, right? Or
Right.
2, they don't know the priest is a priest of Bane.
Right. And we were talking about using some protection, so this would be particularly difficult. But I like the idea
Yeah.
that they can do it. They can do it, right? We want our players to be able to
Yeah.
succeed.
hmm Yeah,
Um,
so let's think. So let's go level 7. The proficiency bonus for level 7 is going to be 4, I want to say. No, 3. Is it still 3 or has it gone to 4 yet?
it is still 3, right? Because it goes
Okay,
up
so
at 510,
yeah. Okay, so
I
it's 3
think.
and then I think well, let's just say it's 3. So it's
Yeah,
3. Your cleric is going to have a 20 wisdom maybe.
sure.
So that means on average they're going to have a +8 to insight. There might be a little bit of a bonus, so +10. So I would make the DC right around 25.
Something just like on the edge of impossibility, right?
Right, where they have to roll like an 18 or a 19 at least
Mhm.
to get it, so that they feel good about succeeding, right? But it is a tough succeed,
Right.
and then how do things change from that, right? Like,
Oh, and
oh man,
we could even
succeed.
this is a good moment to have like a middle ground as well. Like, if you get a
Mhm.
20, somewhere between like an 18 and a 25, you realize that this room is designed or something. Maybe you realize that the secret
Mhm.
library is making it hard to tell what's going on somehow.
Yeah. So I would say like these. I think these are great options that we should roll
Mhm.
back and check in on later if we have
Yeah,
some time,
sure.
or when we actually write it all. Oh,
Yes. Right.
mouse died. Yeah.
Oh no.
Anyway, there we go. Got a
Okay.
mouse. I'm going to
Okay.
highlight these, and I'm going to. Oh, it's not going to let me style them all like this. Okay. Well, whatever. All right. So, here's that's what I was looking for. Let's put that in an orange background. There we go. All right. So that's put aside. I think that's all
Mhm.
great. I love it. But let's talk about the adventure going in the way that we anticipate it.
Right.
They open the box. What is in the box?
Right.
It,
So the box itself is creating this call, whatever it is, this protection
Mhm.
or this room, this enchantment, but the box has something in it. The idea that they're open and front something, or the priests are going to open it on them later. um, right. So there
Right.
should be some sort of is this a Bane avatar of destruction in here? Is there something that they are, a monster they're planning to let loose, and it might as well beat the players up while it's going? Or is this an
Yeah.
artifact that does something specifically?
Right. Um, let's see. Do they have these in here? What are water genies called?
Uh,
Marid. There we go.
ooh, Lards, yeah.
What is the CR on a Marid?
Good question. Hopping in right now. Marid looks like it is. Come on. 11.
Perfect. There's a Marid in there.
Okay.
I don't know. I love it. I mean that's where my brain immediately went. They open it up. There's an urn. The water. They open it
Ooh.
up. There's an urn. The air water collapses, making the urn wet, waking up the Marid, and all they have to do
Ooh.
is open the urn.
That is so smart. So it's the box keeping the air bubble, but as soon as they open the box,
Mhm.
poof. Um,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Um, we could also, in the exact same way, right? If they take this to the surface without opening it, like it's rainy the rest of the time. Yeah, like it's really hard to keep
Yeah.
this thing from getting wet in this moment.
Yeah. The box keeps the water away. Oops.
Or maybe as soon as it does, water is like attracted to this urn, so it just gets drawn in through the ship or through. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
As soon as the box is opened, water is drawn to the urn,
We
which
suddenly have a Maritime
awakes
name.
the
Yeah.
Marid inside. Um, the Marid will try to. So if even if they don't open it, the Marid will try to communicate uh, with the PCs and urge them to open the urn.
Yeah.
If they open the box. All right. Cool. I like that we're using a Marid. All right, so let's take a quick look at a Marid. So Marid, CR11. What kind of fun things could they do like immediately? They could
uh,
conjure elementals,
that's a big one.
gaseous form, invisibility. Um, oh, they have a water jet. That's pretty badass. So multi-attack. Merit makes 2 trident attacks. That's cool. Plus 10, 2d6
Yeah.
plus 2, or 2d8 plus 6. That's fine. But this water jet, the Mard magically shoots a 60-foot line that is 5 feet wide. Each creature must DC 16 saving throw. On a failure, take 66 bludgeoning damage.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just smaller, is pushed 20 feet away from the Mard, knocked prone. That's just an action. That's just like, I do this.
Right. And I love this. I mean, this is we were talking about like levels 6, 7, 8, tier 2. Right?
Yeah, like 7 to 9. Yeah.
Right. So this is a pretty tough fight for them. But at the same time, they're pretty powerful. That multi-attack, the Trident, isn't too bad. We could totally grant this thing, like, if we wanted to change it up, give it a legiondary action or 2 so it attacks out of turn.
Absolutely.
Because that Trident is not threatening enough. That's not what I'm going to be using with this creature.
Yeah. Give the Marid a legend, Marid, some legendary actions.
Mm-hmm.
So, like on initiative count 20, I think something should happen, and then they have the reactions. Those are the legendary actions you're thinking of, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of lair actions.
Right.
So I think
they are now in their lair, basically. Yeah, they can summon the water around to do things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see. In the ocean, the Marid has access to the lair options, and legendary. So it's even harder to fight underwater. Make them pay for their greed. And then out of the ocean, the Marid only has access to the legendary.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Well,
legendary is more damage based. I think legendary actions are more damage based, and lair actions are going to be more defense. Right. Yeah. I think that would be a fun way to kind of play it out. So lair actions would be shrugging off saves, pushing everyone away or everyone around with the water.
Right.
And maybe some other stuff. Just kind of control the battlefield and just be a pain in the butt.
Right.
And then
they have such good actions. Right. Getting to swing around with that trident, maybe making moving half their speed as a reaction or as a legendary action, something like that.
Yeah.
Move them away.
Move half speed. And
they do have some at-wills
with water that pushes targets in range some amount of feet, right? 20 feet, let's say.
Yeah. Using kind of that control water ability.
Yeah.
I've got to say, Marids have the control water spell, and this is a perfect chance to get to use it like at maximum peak power. So they can flood, right? And since they're in water, that flood has a 25% chance of capsizing any huge or smaller vehicles struck by that wave. And then it just repeats it. You can just keep doing it as long as you're still concentrating on the spell. If they're underwater, they could do a whirlpool, getting people caught in a vortex, doing some damage to them there. Those seem like a lot of fun.
Oh, here, Legend X, summon sharks. 1d3 sharks join to combat. Boom. Let's put a max on that, up to a max of 6.
Yeah.
That way the pressure's on. There's going to be a lot of enemies on the board. There's going to be a lot of cool control stuff our Marid can do. I think in the boat, like in the ship, the scene, this scene for the fight should include destructible walls
Right.
that the Marid will throw the PCs through.
That is perfect. Right, or maybe they try
For
to escape
yeah,
around and the water elemental that they summon tries to smash through and hit them. Yeah, lots of fun stuff.
yeah. And it's like 1d10 bludgeoning damage
Mhm.
to go through a wall. Um, but you need to make a dex save. Or you'll take 2d12 piercing damage from a shark.
Mhm. Oh my gosh,
Boom.
this is
There we
great.
go.
So I'm loving this idea that this Marid like gets free, and whether it's in the water or not, it immediately tries to get into the water. Um,
Yeah.
right, and then if I'm kind of seeing this battle happening potentially on the boat itself, the old captain's boat. Um,
Okay.
they try to
Yeah.
sail away. It's like trying to knock it down with this control water, and the captain is panicking, like, "Get it, get it!"
Yeah.
um,
And
so
my thought is it's not even going to make it that far. I think they're going to be fighting in a
yeah,
ship at the bottom of the ocean. But
which is
either way,
cool.
like
Mhm.
both of those are options. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we should totally make an option for battle on the small boat.
Mhm.
Small boat on a street in a library.
Because I guess any of those could happen. Yeah, and we could just like
Yeah,
make little notes about those. Um,
absolutely. Little notes, like quick little sketchy battle maps.
mhm,
Nothing too fancy.
right.
And there, yeah, we. Oh, that's good. That would be sweet.
Both of
I
those would
love the
be a
idea
lot of
of.
fun. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh man, I
Marit,
love
that's a
Marid
smart
so much.
idea. Right,
Well, and
and
the priest
and
of Bane want it because they heard it was some genie in a bottle and they want to use it for wishes. But meanwhile, the Marid they don't grant witches.
no, they are just powerful. So at some point, are they going to stop? Are they going to stop this battle? If the PCs get them down to like, geez, they've got 229 hit points, down to like 50, are they going to stop? Try to make a deal? I
Huh.
don't know.
Um. Yeah, I mean they're not Ifrit, so I don't know what they can offer. What can they offer?
Mhm. That is
They're
true.
egotistical. They already assume themselves better than the Tao of ground or the Efreet of flame. I think they're too confident. I don't think they stop.
Yeah.
I think they think they have it until the very end.
Mhm. That sounds good. I'm cool with that. I was trying to think if they could somehow offer control over the bottle or whatever is housing the Merid, but I kind of like this. So the Merid is an end in itself. They've opened the box, they
Yeah.
destroy the Merid, and there's nothing left. That's it. The box is open.
Yeah.
It is now worthless.
And then I think what we could do is like a reward is the merit could drop its trident.
Oh, for sure. Right. That should leave
Because
behind. When it dies, it disintegrates, but
because
its equipment stays behind.
yeah, because the players aren't getting paid from this adventure,
They have to take their reward off of those Bane clerics' corpses.
right? Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, if they fight the merit, the Bane before seeing the brain piece, the priests just aren't there.
Oh, you think they're just gone?
Potentially, yeah, nowhere to be seen, right? And so what that does is that leaves an option for the DM to create another adventure off of this one, where they go hunting down the Bane priests. The other option is if they deliver it, if they deliver the urn, they open it, open it expecting a wish granting genie,
Hmm.
and instead they curse as they realize it's a married. Realize it is a married. Man, my spelling's bad today. And the married instantly kills him
Oh, fair enough. I was thinking there would be
and
this
attacks.
wild combat, but the merit is weaker for some reason to make it a little bit more fair. Okay,
Yeah,
so let's see.
it
So
is
in
my
the end,
thoughts.
yeah.
We could definitely revise it, but I think that's kind of a good wrap up. Like either option, right? Like okay,
Mhm.
they fight in the ocean, they fight in the street, or they fight in the library. They have three options.
Yeah.
None of these ways they get paid. All they get is a sweet trident, and a useless urn with some old writing on
Mhm. Right.
it.
And then also leads as well. Like once they figure out what's going on, they're of course going to find some clues that these were priests of Bane, um, and they've got leads to go on from there. So hooks leading into the next story bit. But yeah, I think that's good. I think they've also made an ally in the ship's captain, maybe. Um,
Yeah.
and that captain is willing to take them on to the next port where the clerics of Bane may have fled to, or something like that, which could be interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
He
relatively
becomes
decent reward on its own. Yeah.
yeah, I like a resourceful, interesting NPC that we can give the players, and yeah, and it becomes a resource for them, right? Like, oh, well, we know Captain Connor with the boat.
Mhm.
So let's call up Captain Connor while we go down to Cholt to explore why nobody is getting or coming back from the dead whenever we cast Raise Dead, right?
Right, right.
It can lead into it can lead into something else. That would be a ton of fun.
That would be. It's also, a relatively mobile base. It could always be the kind of ship. I feel like in one of the Final Fantasy games, you would travel from town to town, and if it was on the coastline, your
Mhm.
ship would be there. It would just show up,
Yep. Yeah.
which I kind of like.
I want
You've always got a place.
I yeah, I want to say that was 4, but that's just because I'm just now starting 4 again on my phone. So
Okay.
it's the one that's on my mind.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. No, I like that. It's a good resource. And I think if we frame it that way, then they're not going to be too disappointed that like they didn't get 10,000 gold or whatever. They have the ship that can take them anywhere, captain who will be helpful. Ride for free, no problem. Always at your beck and call.
Hmm.
Let's adventure.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right. Okay, so let's do this. Here's our combat encounters.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. What was the first one on our list? Uh, okay, so potentially Priest of Bane,
Right.
right? Potentially.
Maybe.
Um, and then I think, the next one is on the boat with Sahagin.
Right. Attacking the boat, which I find to be one of the most compelling combats, because that one's got a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
We also have the who's a what's it?
Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking in the water with Sahagin too, because we have not big fights, just little fights as they're going down the rope, just to keep that pressure on. The sharks,
Hmm.
the weird monster.
I know. I just looked that one up and then I left the page.
The Marid. There we go. The
Bam.
Mall Sicola.
Yes.
All right.
I'll get it. I'll get it.
So those look like our options for building out our encounter, or at least as many encounters as we can kind of knock out. Right.
Right.
We have about 20 minutes. With that time, we could get started on that. We could think about some adventure, some hooks. We could. I don't know. What do
I
you think?
mean, Those both sound pretty good. We could chat about, whether turning this boat into a mobile base that requires like upgrading. Like, is this a lair for the players? That
Yeah.
could also be fun. Making this like make
Oh
the
yeah,
boat
yeah.
faster, better sails, improve it somehow. Could be fun.
Oh yeah.
I
I
don't know
love
what
it. I
kind of
love boat as a
campaign this
layer.
is. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, just an option, right? So the boat is a lair, has a captain, has
Or a
a
headquarters,
captain.
I suppose.
Yeah, has sleeping quarter, has hammocks for
Right.
up to 6 PCs and the captain.
You've got a
Um,
library that gives you advantage on like, nature checks out in the wild or out in the ocean, you know.
I'm thinking here's the base, right?
Oh, sure, sure.
But I think you can add a library. Like, let's do boat upgrades too, right?
Boat upgrades.
So right, so size, right? So somehow you're able to make your boat a little bit bigger because we're gonna have to give it some kind of points, right?
Right.
Um,
Here.
the boat starts with 10 build points. We'll just use 10, and that takes up. That's all taken up currently. That's all taken up. So now boat upgrades. So what size will do is that'll give additional boat points.
Mhm. Right, we were talking about how
So
the captain and the party can run this thing at the start, but I don't know, can they just make
yeah,
it bigger? Get more crew?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. They just expand it magically,
Mhm.
or they just upgrade the boat size wise,
Yeah,
and everything else just transfers over or something, right? Yeah.
right.
So we'll just go with that. Uh, some of the upgrades could be a library, like you said. And this gives advantage on knowledge checks while on the boat.
Right. Easy.
Yeah. We could add cannons.
Excuse me. Yes. There we go.
Uh, ranged attacks against large creatures and ships.
Now we're getting into Assassin's Creed. I'm great. I'm happy about this. Um,
Yeah.
we need to be able to harden the hull like magically so that the Sagan can't tear through it, Um, that could be fun.
Hardened hull.
I would love
Hardened
I would
hull.
love a glass bottom, like a magical you can go down to the hold and like look underwater as you're going past.
Yeah. I love it. Magical glass bottom.
Mhm.
Improved sails. Depending on what setting, right? Minor elementals
Right? You could
in crew to help with motion.
Oh, that's wonderful. Give it a diving bell, or a submersible,
A
some way
diving
to
bell.
actually, if you want to go down, let's make it safer.
Yeah, so diving bell. I like that. And then later on, you could add a submersible, right?
Add a submersible. You could add some what is it? Make the thing spiked a little more daring and deadly, but also keep borders away. Get some good
Oh yeah,
swinging
so like
ropes.
swinging rope. Yeah,
We need some swinging ropes.
yeah. These ropes are just for swinging.
That's it.
Crow's nest.
We we need a sail
Uh,
just so you can stick a dagger in it and like, ride down the sail,
yeah,
but not actually,
the
doesn't hurt
dag,
you.
the dagger sail.
We should just like the whole upgrade is just swashbuckling capabilities activated.
Exactly right. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I feel like this. We could make rules for this.
Oh, sure, sure, sure.
This doesn't need to be an upgrade, but I
No,
love
no.
it.
Someone was posting recently about environmental effects, which D&D doesn't really have, but a lot of other games do. Phoenix has one where you list a few things in the environment, and if you decide to use one, you get an advantage. So, we could definitely
Yeah.
write rules for that. Like if you use the swinging ropes, cool, you get advantage on that attack. But as soon as somebody uses them, this encounter, they're done.
Yeah. Environmental combat things that can be done on the boat.
Fun stuff.
Swinging to another boat. Dagger down the sail. Uh, ramming another ship. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. A ram on it. Why not? I love the idea that the crow's nest is
Mhm.
giving you, advantage on perception checks.
Yeah.
This starts turning this from, just we met a captain who told us some stories to like okay, all right, let's all become sailors. Let's do this. Are we on for a life of piracy
Yeah.
now? Maybe to get hired to be, uh what's a pirate that works for a crown?
Privateer.
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 I was like Buccaneer, Brigadier.
Buccaneer is a Haitian pirate who operated in shallow Haitian, that general area of the Caribbean
Mhm.
and into South America. They worked in mostly shallow waters, dealing with more attacking land. So that's a
Okay.
buccaneer.
Okay.
And then let's see, you said buccaneer, privateer, regular
I
pirate.
said
I don't know,
Brigadier, but
whatever.
that's
Oh, brigadier. Brigadier is not a pirate.
yeah.
Uh, okay, so crow's nest gives advantage on sight-based perception.
Right. Or maybe, we've got it
Checks.
set up with looking glasses up there. We're good. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's good stuff. Maybe at some point we also just fancy up our captain,
Right.
Get that
I
captain
mean,
a
maybe
hat.
there's right, right. Captain boosts, right?
Hmm. This is a really
Fancy
cool
hat.
thing I like in have you played the latest Assassin's Creed games? I haven't played
Uh,
Valhalla yet. But the Greek one.
last one I played was the Pirates one.
Okay. Some
No,
of
I
the
haven't
latest
played the Pirates
ones,
one. Yeah.
you go around and you have your boat because you have to travel from island to island. And you can take some of the enemies you find, or some of the people, either one, and you can conscript them to join your crew. And then they're just on your boat. And depending
Oh,
on which ones you get, they give you different bonuses. So you're like looking for the
yeah.
legendary helpers who will, that one will, my cannons go more often. This one, my sails are faster. So I
Right.
like that. I like
Right.
that idea. Then now we have this whole mini game because they have come to this adventure. Yeah, now I'm not worried about not getting treasure. I got an awesome boat.
Right. Yeah. So okay. We have a lot going on here, and I, I think we're really getting into something very interesting, especially to me, and that should be a ton of fun. I suggest that we use this to pivot, and next month we do pirates and privateers.
Oh, of course. We were talking about that anyways. Yes, we should.
Yeah, yeah. All right. But next week, we work on some encounters.
Right. We really got to get some encounters and decide which one we want to do. They're all good. Like that whole set is fantastic. I think the Sahagan
Yeah.
one on the boats is probably going to be the one that feels the most like next month. But dealing with the Masakola, the sharks, something in there, the skill challenge aspect that we were chatting about, like those could be really fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, we normally fill the entire hour, but I think I'm okay calling it a little early today.
Yeah, yeah, gone
We've done
far.
we've gone far. We got all the way through this adventure. We made it to the very end. We have some ideas for next week, as
Mhm,
well as some ideas for next month. I
mhm.
think we're in a good spot. So in that case, I just want to say, everyone on YouTube, thanks for watching. Everyone on Twitch, also, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and down in that corner. For those folks over on the YouTubes, on Twitch, follow is somewhere down there too. And yeah, Rich, you got well, you have one thing to promote, and everyone should for sure, and everyone should be checking it out, and that is
Oh,
your latest release on the DM's Guild.
yeah, Beast Bonded. That is a way to make animal companions for all of your young heroes. It's kid focused, and it's making sure that kids have pets. Spend your background, get a pet that's awesome. Um,
That's awesome.
Build some teamwork and tactical combat and all sorts of stuff. Like it's great. Everyone needs a pet.
Kid focused, family approved.
Oh, I like
All right,
that.
thanks everyone. Yeah, thanks everyone, and we will see you next week. I mean, you know, I say that as I'm looking for the button.